So this exposure looks okay in the viewfinder. Hope you can see it. I've dialed it down a bit. Used to be, back in the day when you were doing photography, you could take out something that looked like this and call it a neutral density or a neutral gray, an average gray, and then you could set your exposure on this and then everything would come out right. But that doesn't seem to work for these video cameras. At any rate, this is a piece that I'm going to use for the side for this box. Now for this Tesla coil rebuild, I realize I haven't gotten into any of the electronics yet, none of the secondary. We're just still building the base. And as you can see, I've got a base here put together of some of these Garolite panels and this Fastech number 15. In the last video I cut it up and put it together, and I won't go through how I did that again, but what I've added is these gussets on the side, which I got from 80/20 Productions that fit just fine. All of these, you use these here, let's see, use these connectors, and they fit in the side here, and you can just take a 1/4x20 bolt, and they just screw, 1/4x20s just screw right in there, and thus you have something that clamps into these slots. So that's how I put those in. Now, one of the interesting things is here, and as you can see, I am in the process of dismantling this contraption. What I realized after I started putting it together, and as with all of these sort of homebrew projects, there's no user's manual, there's no sequence of instructions that tells you how to put something like this together. You just sort of visualize it and try to put it together. And what I realized is after I bought this, got these Garolite panels which will serve as a top and the bottom. These are both temperature proof and electrically insulating. And then for the side, I got some cheaper panels. This is a 1/4 inch PVC I got from McMaster, and it's just a gray 1/4 inch PVC. It's electrically insulator. Electrically, it's an insulator, but they say it only withstands about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the question is, will it get above 150 degrees Fahrenheit in here when the coil's running? Well, without fans and air control, it probably will. But I figured, hey, you know, this is a 2x2 sheet, and I think I paid somewhere around 18 bucks for it. So it's worth a try. If it doesn't work, I'll have to go to Surplus and find some other answers. But meanwhile, what my intention was to fit this into these slots, which it does fit. The slots are about 5/16. Each of the size of each of these slots on the Fastech are about, that's about 5/16. So 1/4 inch fits with some slop. All right, you got a 1/16 of an inch, and it's pretty cold today, so things are a little bit contracted. But when it warms up, you would see that this thing would flop around quite a bit in there. So what I was going to do is cut this to size and slide these in. But now we see the topology problem that I presented myself. I've got these put together quite nicely, as you see when it's fully assembled. It's kind of pretty looking. Problem is, once it's fully assembled, there is literally no way at all to get these side panels in. It also makes me think that once the side panels are in and I have to crawl around here wiring things up, is that going to be functional? Will I be able to scoot in there, and if I have to solder some things or drill, am I going to be able to do that? Don't know. And so what I'm struggling with now is, what's the sequence of events? Should I transfer all the electronics into here without the side panels on and then try to put the panels in, or should I put the panels in now and then worry about it later? Because once I've got the secondary and the primary on here, it's going to be difficult to keep taking them off and putting them on. And here's the topology problem that I'm talking about specifically. Let me zoom in to one of these edges here. And There we go. And what we can see is that here's the slot that I'd like to slide the side panel into, but it's got a, you know, the way this one's coming across, it's being blocked here by that. So now I've got a couple choices in the corner. When I want to slide the panel in like this, I'll cut it down to size, and this will be around here. So I can either cut a groove in here and let the panel come in and just loop around that, or I can just take an end mill on the mill and cut that groove out, and just have the panels be rectangular and slide them in. Of course, then the problem is going to be that the panels won't slide in and out unless I cut the groove all the way to the top here, and I really don't want to do that. So that means I'll only be able to put the panels in and out when I've got the box disassembled. And therein lies the interesting topology problem. I've been thinking about this for a few days. I haven't done a video in a while. A lot of relatives over for the holidays and whatnot. This is the first free chance I've got, so I've been thinking about it on and off. And I think where I'm going to go with this is I am going to router out, or rather put this on the mill and cut these edges. I'm going to have to cut these edges here on the other side and also on the bottom, which means I'm going to have to disassemble this whole thing in order to do that. But the alternative is cut these panels and then cut the corners out so that they'll fit. I'd still have to take it apart though to slide the panels in, but I'd only have to take the top off. That's the conundrum. I think I may try milling those things out. I like the idea of the panels just being square and fitting in better, and that way I don't have a gap there. All right. I'm going to try to cut out the piece right here that's sharpied. Lower the head a little bit. I've got, problem is, one of the problems is I don't have a nice 2-flute aluminum end mill, or end mill for aluminum here. I've got to use this 4-flute thing, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we don't wind up with a lot of galling and a mess. I've got some WD-40 here, and I just want to get this, and let's start in the middle, and then we'll see if we can move it out around the other side. All right, we're on a fairly high speed here. Make sure I don't get too high. Down a little bit. So by cutting these grooves in these side pieces here, I was able to create this situation where, if you look at the corners here, there's a slot that goes all the way around on both sides. So slots, and that way I can fit something, not this, but something like this, into here, like so. I just cut these panels on the chop saw. Makes a mess of the chop saw, I'll show you in a minute. And now they just slide right in here. So I've got 1, 2, 3 panels. I'm going to leave the 4th one off because I got to be able to work in there. I have to figure out how to put a door in there or something. But meanwhile, I'll be drilling on the outside here for all the connections and whatnot. Let me show you the chop saw. So it's pretty covered with so that's what happens to your nice chop saw when you decide. And there's the final product, looking somewhat like something you'd see in a circus act, I think, more than a Tesla coil. Well, the gray, you know, got to cut some holes in there for the fan and for the various connections. The top, we're going to put the insulators on and the secondary. So for now it looks kind of clowny, but it'll start looking more electronic as soon as I get some more of the stuff in it.